Hey guys, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children. 12 of my children still live here, not here in the garden, here in my house at home. Today I'm going to give you an update on the baby. I was thinking on doing that inside of the cabin. I found my other water bottle. I was thinking on doing that inside of the cabin, but then I realized, oops, spider web, but then realized that the cabin's a hot mess. Goodness. So I think I'm going to do it inside here in the high tunnel. Although I thought that I had a tripod out here. Maybe I do. Maybe it's at the end. I'm going to look for the tripod. Come along with me. We're in my high tunnel. The other day we had actually quite a few appointments. I had to go to my midwife appointment, which was really lovely because it was actually my midwife. And before, when I was dealing with the baby's first diagnosis, it wasn't my midwife. It was actually, where did it go? Oh, there it is. It was actually a fill-in type midwife. And yeah, it was a lot different. So I'm gonna hook you guys up to this and hopefully sit down and relax for a minute out here. So I was actually gonna sit with my back against that thing there. And then I realized that my potato plants, which are right there, have potato bugs all over them. So I'm gonna try to focus on this video and handle that after I am done. This is Pretty Flower. I love calendulas. So I had my appointment, and this may be kind of jumbled. I didn't write a list of what happened. So I shared with you guys, I'm trying to think of the title of the video. Maybe It's So Worth It or something like that, or This Baby's So Worth It, something like that. So about a month ago, I went in for my 20-week ultrasound, and my baby was diagnosed with, or they thought, given the ultrasound, that the baby was going to have trisomy 18. Since then, I have... I heard water and I was thinking, oh no, the automatic sprinklers are coming on, but it's actually my garden outside. So the baby has trisomy 18. And then I took a blood test and they confirmed that it seemed like the baby has trisomy 18. Now the next step would be that I would have an amniocentesis. And I refused to do an amniocentesis because there's high risk for a baby if you do an amniocentesis that you could have a miscarriage. And I don't believe in that. I feel like God gave us this baby for whatever time He is going to allow us to hold this baby, whether it's just in my womb or whether it's outside of my womb. That I just want to be in God's plan. I want to be in His will. And so when I left that appointment, I was very discouraged. I had never really, I've heard of it maybe in passing the words, but I didn't really know what it was. I was pretty much told at that time that there was no hope for my baby. I should just really consider having an abortion. I was asked that numerous times throughout the visit. I've done a lot, let me tell you guys, a lot of research. And I have spoken to some wonderful, wonderful people. If you are going through this, if you think that your baby has trisomy 18, there is, From Diagnosis to Delivery is a book that the woman, I think it's Verenity's Village, she actually just sent, it's so sweet. I should have brought it out here. She sent a package and it has a book and a journal, and then there's just this tiny, so sweet, this tiny little outfit, as well as it has this tiny little outfit. And it also, she had a little octopus with, I guess the way it's crocheted and the way the legs are, that it comforts babies in the NICU because it makes them feel close. So yeah, there was a lot of research because I didn't realize that some babies lived. Yeah, they don't even say that as an option. It's like your baby's either going to die in your uterus, or you're going to give birth to a stillborn, or your baby's going to die probably within hours, maybe days of you giving birth. So I was trying to, during that time, I did get the blood work done, and I also spoke to somebody on video chat, and I also, it's called video chat, Zoom meeting or something like that. And I also spoke with this other lady, this other midwife, and I was asking just different questions, because at this point now I've seen people that have children that actually have this condition, and I understand, like, it's serious, right? And there's serious conditions with this, but they hadn't said anything about a baby even living, let alone being 5 years old. Like Verenity's Village, I think that her daughter is like 5 or 6. And I've found actually more people. There was one who had who was like 24. And then the difference is that there's also like mosaic and non-mosaic, or like full and mosaic. Excuse me if I don't know like all the proper terms. I'm really just learning about all this, but there's different kind of degrees of trisomy, and none of that was explained either. And they wouldn't be able to tell what degree the baby had until it was actually born. So just did a lot of research, and I spoke to a lot of people, and I found that some hospitals, it's really hard to even think about this, but some hospitals, because a baby is given a diagnosis of trisomy 18, 13, there's different ones. If they're given that diagnosis, then the hospital will only do palliative care, like end of life type care. They will not help the baby in any way like they would a normal child. So say a baby was born and it had like issues with its heart, they would help that baby and get them stabilized, and then evaluate the heart and then decide what to do from there. They wouldn't do any of that because there was already the label of trisomy. They would just say, oh, well, the baby's going to die anyway, so, you know, whatever. But honestly, like, I serve a great God. He can do whatever he wants. He's going to let me hold this baby for as long as he has planned. I'm not worried about the plan that the medical system has, because they're not the Lord. He has the power to heal if he wants to. He has the power not to heal if he wants to. But I just need to me, I feel like I just need to be in his will. So it even comes to the point where maybe a baby is really stable, and most trisomy babies, because of the way the chin is back, it seems that they would need to have feeding, like through a feeding tube. Sometimes they can get the babies to like take a bottle or something like that, but because of the actual way the chin is, they would need a feeding tube, at least in the beginning. Most of the time for a longer time, but yeah, so a baby would need a feeding tube. So in some hospitals, actually, like, they would consider that intervention. So sadly, some babies were and are starved to death, and I don't know, that's not my thing. I don't know. It reminded me, when I'm hearing these stories, of just different stories of different things. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a story with an elderly woman years ago, and she was stable, but they needed to feed her through a feeding tube, but her brain was pretty much gone, and they were trying to decide if they should just, you know, starve her to death. That was one of the stories that came up or whatever. And another was, I've watched Call of the Midwife. Me as a mother has watched Call of the Midwife. I don't think all the episodes of Call of the Midwife are appropriate. So I'm not like advocating for that television show. But I do see like a lot of historical type things in there that are quite interesting, but please, like, if you're looking into that, use your own discretion in that area. So in part of this Call of the Midwife series, it talked about, I think they were called thiamine babies. So in the beginning of pregnancy, a lot of times they would give mothers, for morning sickness, they would give them a pill, and the pill actually caused no arms and no legs, or like muted, like just shorter joints or different things. And it was very common practice in the hospital for those children that were born that way, because sometimes during that period the parents might not be like fully alert when giving birth. If a child like that was given birth in the hospital, that they would actually say the baby had died to the parents, and then they would take that baby and put the baby like naked in front of an open window, and then the baby would die. That episode was really hard for me to watch even before this. Like, that's murder. To me, that's murder. You are murdering somebody else. You are taking, because you don't feel that that child is perfect. You feel like that child's not exactly what you like. There was, I'm gonna gesture with my lion that was in the garden apparently eating the beans. But you don't feel like you feel like you have the right to make that decision. I don't think that. I think the only person that has the right to make that decision is the Lord. Like, if he chooses this, then that's his choice. And I believe that every baby, whether your baby is disabled, whether your child is disabled, does God want your children to be disabled in a perfect world? No. He did not create us to be imperfect, but we are imperfect. And each condition that your child might have is in your home and your family for a purpose. He has a purpose for your life, and it includes that child. So I'm thinking about my baby, right? And someone, like, a lot of people had this like idea of, well, wouldn't it be kinder if you just killed your baby? Like, how can you carry a baby for 9 months knowing that that baby might die? I ask you this. Pretend you were carrying your perfectly healthy child, and you love that baby for 9 months in your womb. And you love that baby, and everyone like oodles and, oh, she's so sweet, he's so sweet. Your baby for days while you're in the hospital or while you're at home or whatever. You go home, or you go to take that baby out on its first outing. You get them in their little car seat and they look so cute in there, and you drive and you get in a car accident. And you live, and your baby dies. Does that ever take away the love that you felt for that child? No. This baby that I'm carrying is going to be loved forever, however long God allows me to love this baby and to cherish this baby. Just like he let me love my son and cherish my son for 23 years. He was a blessing to our lives every day that he was here. This baby is a blessing to our lives every day. Every day. Okay, now that I've stood on my pedestal with my lion, soapbox, yeah. You know, like in the olden days, they'd like go and preach like on the little soapbox, like, this is how it is. Anyway, now that I've said that, I'll give you the actual like stuff that's going on with the baby. So I went into my doctor's appointment, and honestly, I was really apprehensive. Originally, I was going to have one of my daughters stay with Sweet Pea in the waiting room, because in that part, there was no issue at all. It's more ultrasound area that there's an issue with Sweet Pea being there. So that one of my daughters was going to do that, and it didn't work out that way for numerous reasons. One, the night before, our minivan that we had just got things fixed broke down in the city and had to get, thankfully we have AAA back to the mechanics. Anyway, so that was a long night. I also had 2 other children that needed to go to the orthodontist that day, and my appointment was for 10:15 and their appointments were for 11, and it is not easy to switch either of those appointments. So my older daughter, she took 2 kids over to the Brace's place, and I went to my appointment with Sweet Pea. So I was a little nervous because of the way that I was treated prior. And I got in there and I was pleasantly surprised. I already had in my mind kind of what I was saying. I've been very blessed to speak to a lot of Christian women over the past few weeks. And I have kind of a backup plan. I do know that Boston Children's, or my understanding is Boston Children's is very trisomy 18 friendly, and they will fight for your baby's life. That is kind of far, but at the same time, I'm okay with that. 6 hours is nothing in the big picture. It's figuring out a bunch of ins and outs of everything, yeah. But when it's like your baby's health, like, I just want this baby to be given the best care it can while it's here. And so I ended up, it was my normal midwife that I had there. I've actually never delivered with this midwife because most of the babies that I've had, I have had home births. And I felt very strongly this time that I needed to go to this doctor's, at least for the beginning. And I'm glad the Lord showed me, and he showed me for a reason, right? That's how he works. That's how he works. So strong on my heart, and I had gone there, and my kids are outside. The kids are outside, and they were playing like hide and go seek, but she really got scared. She's saying, "You're so scabby." So yeah, so it was nice. She really was, I wasn't quite sure how she was going to be. She asked how I felt. I said, I feel like I'm carrying this baby for a purpose. And like I just told you guys, you know, this baby deserves as much life as God has for it. And I'm here to fight for this baby's rights. And I am willing to go or do whatever I need to do in order to ensure that this baby is going to get the best medical care. And it's also important to me that my children can be a part of it if they want to, or if there comes a time that we need to say goodbye, that they're all going to be allowed to do that together. And it's weird because I had called and I had asked a lot of the questions to another midwife, and the lady was like, well, I don't really know if we can do any of that and whatever. So when I went in there the other day, I was on the mood of like, you know, if you don't want to fight for this baby's life, I'm going to Boston, like it or not. That's kind of where I was at. And my midwife was so sweet. She really was like, I've been thinking a lot about you. And then she went to explain like the type of hospital NICU that they have there, and that she's completely behind me. And she's had some parents that have had trisomy babies, and the goal is, I had to check insulin. I mean, not insulin, the Dexcom. She's high. So she just went to explain like that she's had other patients and that she's had other babies, and her goal like with them, she's like, was to get them, they've been home like on hospice, and that's a really special time, and that we just want to like be able to let you and your family have whatever time with this baby. And it's pretty special. I went in there kind of very defensive. I have a phone call I have to attend to. And then this sweet little girl brought me this for my hand. Like this? Is that for my hand? Uh-huh. Okay. So, yeah. It was really nice. She went over the things that she sees right now on the ultrasound and such. She doesn't actually have the ultrasound. She has, do you want to sit with me for a minute?
No.
Okay. She just has the report from the ultrasound. I guess the ultrasound went down to Portland. So she has the thing from, she has just the report or whatever, but she, without me asking, she gave me all the details of what they saw in the ultrasound and things that they're like, well, they wrote this, but there's no, like, there's a heart, like, there's something going on with the baby's heart, but there's no, like, diagnosis of issues with the heart. She just gave, like, what there was actually there. And then she also said, okay, so what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, is to have another ultrasound to do the baby's growth, to have you talk to the NICU here so you can ask whatever questions here so you can feel more comfortable. She wants to do an echocardiogram on the baby and then just go from there. See the exact conditions that are going on so we can make the best choices, decide the best place for me to deliver at. Or I guess I didn't know like the levels of NICUs and that type of stuff. So the NICU there is actually a level 3 NICU. And if there were any issues, then the baby would be like, if there was stuff that they couldn't handle, the baby could be transferred to Boston, where is the other kind of option that we were looking at. So we, at this point right now, I felt good with all the information that I was given, and I felt very supported that she was wanting to just be there for me and the baby. Then we listened to the baby's heartbeat, and the baby's heartbeat was really strong, which was awesome. Yeah, and so we actually found out the sex of the baby. We couldn't tell on the ultrasound, but we did the blood work, and I didn't know they could even do this, and the blood work came up with what the sex of the baby was. I think that we're probably going to do that in a different video, but I wanted to update you on all of that. So we'll be doing more ultrasounds, have a better understanding of what exactly is going on with the baby, because everything's kind of just like wishy-washy and whatever. So we'll just wait and see. So I really appreciate all those people that have been praying for all of us through this time, and it's really a blessing. It really is. I believe as Christians we're brothers and sisters in Christ, and so I'm always wanting to pray for others, when there's issues. So it's just nice to feel like you're encouraged, like in that group, in that family, and you know, to have the YouTube family as well is really a blessing. And I just appreciate all of your prayers. We appreciate your prayers, and I will keep you updated. I think I'm probably going to be having another ultrasound within the next 2-ish weeks. So I will update you after that, but I need to call that phone number back, and I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful day.